What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the Boothill calculation video. I know it's a little late, but better late than never, I say. But before we get into the calculation video, let me know that you enjoyed this type of content by liking the video, leaving a comment in the comment section below, and subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. I know we have discussed Boothill in the past, but a little bit of a refresher on his kit. His has a normal basic, nothing crazy over here. Enhanced basic does 220% of physical damage to enemy with standoff, and gains 30 energy and breaks is 60. You get access to this enhanced basic attack by doing your skill, which makes Boothill and the enemy enter standoff and enhances the basic attack for 2 turns. Then Boothill and the enemy can only attack each other, and they receive enhanced damage from each other. We deal 30% more damage to the enemy, but it is in the form of a vulnerability. So it actually calculates like a vulnerability debuff and not a damage increase debuff. And then when the enemy on standoff is either defeated or broken, you gain 1 trick shot or 1 pocket trick shot, and then you exit the standoff. So essentially Boothill 1v1s one of the enemies, and if he wins, he gets a little stack of his buff, and if he loses, then I guess you just have to reset. All right, the ultimate applies physical weakness to an enemy for 2 turns and deals 400% physical damage and delays their action by 40%. This is an extremely strong ultimate. Not even the multiplier is high, like the multiplier is really high as well, but it also you inflict physical weakness, which is what you need to do Boothill's actual damage, because most of his damage actually doesn't come from his ultimate. It comes from his enhanced basic when he breaks. So his talent, pocket trick shot, increases break efficiency by 50% per stack up to 3. After winning a battle, trick shot is retained for the next battle. So once you gain the stacks of trick shot, you don't lose them until you exit battle and then go back into battle. And then when the enemy is broken by an enhanced basic, for every trick shot deals break damage equal to 70, 120, and 170% of Boothill's break damage, and the max toughness applied to this is 480. Just a disclaimer, this does not count as super break. This part right here is not super break. This is an extra instance of break damage. So Boothill by himself is going to have the regular break damage, the bleed dot, and then he's also going to have an extra instance of break damage. So this will apply whenever you break the enemy and whenever they're already broken. If you have 3 stacks, you're going to gain, you're going to deal 170% of Boothill's break damage, and we're going to see how much damage that exactly is in the calculation portion. But this actually ends up being a lot of damage. And this max toughness applied to 480. This is because with regular break damage, you have to take into consideration the max toughness of the enemy. So this is the max toughness that we actually have to that we actually can take into consideration. Tech, when you use the skill for the first time, apply physical weakness equal to the ultimate for, I think, 2 turns. I think it is really good. Tech also applies weakness, so anything that applies your own weakness is actually really strong for this kit. Rotation, you just want to scale. You want to go into a standoff, beat the enemy, go into a standoff again, beat the enemy. That's what you want to do. Scale, enhance basic, skill, enhance basic. You shouldn't even have to touch this basic attack at all. If you do, it's because you just don't have any skill points. All right, the traces, he has one of the best stat converting traces in the game. So he converts 10% of his break effect into crit rate and 50% of his break effect into crit damage, up to a max of 30 and 150, which means you're going to need about 300 break effect to max this out. But it's kind of attainable. We'll go into the Lycone discussion a little bit later, but it is attainable with a few helping hands that Boothill has. Okay, next trait decreases damage this character receives from targets not in standoff by 30%. So whenever he is in standoff, every enemy that hits him is going to have his damage received reduced. Only the enemy in standoff can really hurt Boothill. When obtaining pocket trick shot in standoff, you regenerate 10 energy, and this also applies to pocket trick shot gained after you already have your 3 stacks. So it doesn't matter if you're already maxed out on pocket trick shot, you still gain the 10 energy, even if you're already maxed out. That's pretty much what that is. He gets 37% break effect, 18% attack, 10% HP. I would have liked this to be crit damage or crit rate, but I'll take the HP, I guess. Now let's take a look at the calculation. For Boothill's relics, right now I have the 4-piece Artumbo and the 2-piece Talia of Kingdom of Banditry. That's what the 68% break effect is from. But in 2.3, we should be getting a new break effect set that allows the wearer to ignore defense. So whenever that releases, that's going to be the best in slot. So whenever we actually get confirmation that that is actually going to be the numbers that we're going to get in the new set, I will make an update video. But for now, we're going to calculate it with the 4-piece Artumbo and the 2-piece Talia Kingdom of Banditry, as well as probably his best option when it comes to light cones, because he doesn't really have a lot of break effect options. There's only 1 break effect option available, and it's going to be his own light cone. Aside from that, he has a sword play, and since he's always going to be hitting the same energy, sword play is probably looking like one of the better ones. Honestly, any hunt light cone that has crit rate or that increases crit rate is also going to be very good, but I chose sword play because of the 80% damage bonus that you can get from it. Disclaimer, on a really good Boothill team, odds are you are never going to hit the 80% because he just hits so hard that the enemy's just gonna die, okay? But if you do, you're gonna get an 80% damage bonus from swordplay. He has 621 base attack, 476 from swordplay flat attack, 18% from traces. We're going with a crit chest. We're going for speed boots. We are running an attack orb, and the reason I did attack orb here is because it actually ended up being more damage because we're running a swordplay light cone. But if you're running any of the other hunt light cones that don't have break effect or damage bonus increases, then a physical orb is probably going to end up being a little bit better damage, not by that much, just by a little bit. Either attack orb or physical orb is going to be good. The rope, obviously we want a break effect rope, which is what we have down here. Then we have 30% attack and subs, which is pretty doable, and that gets us a pretty much 2450 attack. Like I previously mentioned, most of his damage comes from his break effect, and since he already gets a little bit of break effect here from the traces, he gets 40% from subs. 40% from subs is because you really want to hyper focus break effect, because break effect is a multi-tool, a Swiss Army knife of stats for Boothill, because remember, he's not only getting break effect, he's also getting crit rate, he's also getting crit damage from break effect. So if a piece has break effect and crit rate, you can consider that a 2 substat with crit value piece, because you are getting those extra crit stats with it. A perfect relic for Boothill is going to be crit rate, crit damage, break effect, and speed or attack, whichever one. It will be fine, but as long as it has break effect, you should be fine. So 40% in subs, because remember, you want to really hyper focus on break effect. 68% from relics. When you get past 145 speed, you're going to get the extra 20 from Telekinetic Banditry. This gives you 32, this gives you 36, that gets you 68% break effect. 0% in buffs because we haven't added any teammates, and then the rope 64%. This is the bare minimum that we're going to be dealing with, unless you have less substat rolls, which I don't see why you should have less than this, because you can get 16, 17 or 20% in one piece, and I'm pretty sure most people have at least one of those pieces that have 20% break effect on it. So just throw that in there. It's a good piece. So getting 40% in subs, I don't think is too unrealistic. And now down here we have the crit stats we get from the trace. So this is the crit rate and crit damage we get from the break effect already converted, and that is already added up here, which I have crit rate, regular crit rate, which we have 50% crit rate. Crit rate from the trace we have 21%, and then crit damage, and then this says 100, but it's actually 50 because we already have 50% crit damage bonus. And then the trace crit damage, we have another 105 coming from the break effect source. So this adds to a total of 205 crit damage and 71% crit rate, which is actually pretty nice. We have the 80% damage bonus from swordplay at 5 stacks, and then the 30% multiplier for his standoff, because we want to focus the enemy that has a standoff on it. All right, now we're going to come down here where the damage is the damage table. This is how much the basic is doing. It has basic, ultimate, regular break damage, which is the same number as here, and then the same number as here. And then we have a super break column, which we're not going to access until we add Harmony MC. But then we have the extra break, which we can actually take advantage of as without Harmony MC. This actually I have to change it to here so we can actually get an accurate representation of his actual damage without any help. Over here we have the break formula, and this is the toughness that we're going to be taking into consideration when calculating the break formula. Then the super break formula is over here. We're dealing with one enemy, and then this is the toughness table, which we're going to use this value over here to calculate the toughness reduction multiplier over here. Off the cuff, just himself with doing an enhanced basic, which I'm going to highlight right here, with doing an enhanced basic, 1 instance of break damage and not super break, we're going to move this to extra break damage. We're going to be dealing about 169,000 damage, just Boothill by himself. Remember guys, no signature light cone, and then the light cone is only giving us nothing pretty much. It's only giving us a little bit of damage bonus for our enhanced basic attack. So now when we start adding supports, right, let's go ahead and start adding his best support, which is probably going to be Harmony MC, and everybody should be grinding Harmony MC at least to E4. Because E6 is not available yet, but at least get the E4 so you can get all the benefits from break effect. So first thing when you do the ultimate with Harmony MC, you're going to get 30% break effect. But if you have her E4, or if you have your Harmony MC E4, you're going to trigger his secondary, his Eidolon, which is going to convert part of Harmony MC's break effect into a break effect buff for your ally. So if you have a 200% Harmony MC, or 200% break effect Harmony MC, you're going to transform that into an extra 30% break effect damage, or break effect for Boothill, so for a total of 60% 20% break effect. Aside from that, you're going to have access to super break damage. So let's go ahead and add here the super break column when you get the 3 stacks, because we want to see what maximum damage is going to look like. So if you notice, the super break with the stacks are already calculated down here. So this is with 1 stack and 50% break efficiency. This is with 2 stacks at 100% break efficiency, and this is 3 stacks with 150% break efficiency. If we add super break damage, him and Harmony MC are just going to be doing 268,000 damage, which is very, very this is a very high damage coming from an E0 S0 unit with a free to play support and a 4-star light cone. It's a lot of damage, okay? Mind you, this is only single target, so I mean, you can take that however you want. To me, single target 270k is pretty nice. And this is just Boothill and Harmony MC. Now we're going to add the second, probably the second or one, I mean, either or is going to be the first or the second best supporter for Boothill, Ruan Mei. Off the cuff, Ruan Mei is going to give you an extra 20% break effect, total of 80% break effect. We're almost maxing out on our break effects, on our break effect stat conversion here. We're almost at 300. Ruan Mei is also going to give us a 60% damage bonus, which doesn't really affect our break damage, but our enhanced basic attack damage surely would appreciate it, as well as 25% rest pen right here. The last thing that it's going to be doing is giving us 50% break efficiency. And yeah, look at how much damage his super breaks are going to be doing. Boothill deals most of his damage when the enemy is either breaking or already broken. So even without the super break damage, so if we go in here, right, and then let's say we do an enhanced basic, because the enhanced basic is always going to be there because we're always going to be doing enhanced basic. The only thing that's going to alter is going to be either having break damage or having super break damage. If the enemy is getting broken, you're going to add the break damage, and if the enemy is already broken, you're not going to add the break damage. If you're doing the action of breaking or the enemy is already broken, super break damage will trigger. So let's say the enemy is already broken and then we have to get rid of the initial break damage. We're still almost at 300k, and Boothill, remember guys, this doesn't count as super break, so super break still triggers. So most of his damage is actually coming from the super break and the extra break instance that he does. So, and you might be wondering like, hey, so how do we get it to where we get the break damage to add on to this already like pretty good damage, right? So to get the break damage to activate, so what you want to do is get you're gonna have to plan out your breaks. So what I mean by that is you can't use the entirety of the attack to trigger the break. You want to break the enemy when the enemy's toughness bar has a sliver of break left, so that way the first hit of the attack triggers the break damage, so that you get the 90k straight up. And then the rest of the attack is going to trigger the EX break, which is this, and then the super break, which is going to be a little bit less than this, maybe like 5 to 10k less than this, but it's still going to be around this number. So this is that's how you get this to trigger, okay? All right, but now we have 3 teammates, right? We have Boothill, we have Harmony MC, and then we have Ruan Mei, right? We can add a 4th teammate that is going to help us tremendously, right? We have a lot of options. We can do a Bronya. So Bronya actually is going to enhance this portion of the attack. It's going to give us a little bit more enhanced basic damage, and it's going to give us more turns so we can trigger this damage more frequently. So Bronya actually helps out, and then Bronya and Ruan Mei kind of cancel each other out when it comes to skill point efficiency. So there you go. Harmony MC is pretty skill point hungry as well. You're going to have to manage your skill points a little bit better if you're running a Bronya and the Harmony MC, but you also have Sparkle. You can also use Sparkle. You have no skill point problems. You still get a decent crit damage bonus. You have a damage bonus as well. You have an attack bonus as well. So the enhanced basic is actually going to help, is going to be helped by Bronya or Sparkle. You could also run a Gallagher. Gallagher also actually has a 12% vulnerability debuff that is actually going to help your team deal more damage. So with Gallagher on the team, first you're going to have an extra damage dealer, because Gallagher on a break team actually deals significant amounts of damage. And then also he's going to be boosting your break damage from Boothill to about 320,000. All right, now for the shits and giggles, we're going to replace Boothill's swordplay with his signature light cone. So the first thing that's going to happen is he's going to get this attack upgraded to 582. That's going to bring his attack up by a little bit. Then he's going to be getting 60% break effect. And last but not least, when dealing break damage, which is actually this entire thing, you're going to be getting a 20% defense ignore, okay? So let me go ahead and add the 20% defense ignore. All right, so when we calculate his signature light cone with the 20% defense ignore, which is only for break damage, so I calculated only in these two tables and not this table. So the enhanced basic is still going to have the regular defense multiplier, but the break damage is going to have a 0.52 defense multiplier, which is a 20% defense ignore. Our damage is going to skyrocket to about 400,000, and this is without taking into consideration the break damage. If we actually play Boothill correctly, and we actually take advantage of his break mechanic, super break mechanic, and extra break mechanic, one enhanced basic, one perfectly timed enhanced basic attack with Boothill can deal upwards of 528,000 damage. This is with the signature light cone, okay? Homeboy is going to be hitting hard as hell. This is why I'm so excited about Boothill, and just for the fuck of it, because I am getting his E1 S1. I am going to show you what the E1 is going to be doing, just because I am also curious. So his E1 is going to give us an extra, what is it? An extra 16% defense ignore on everything. So we're going to do 16% defense ignore, right? We're going to add that in there, and then we also have to add that in there. So let's add everything in there. With the E1, our homeboy is going to be doing about 600k. 600k with the E1 S1 with Ruan May, Harmony MC, and homeboy Gallagher, and he gets an extra stack of trick shot for free. I understand that most people are not going to go for the E1 S1, but I am, so this is kind of crazy. I like this number right here for an E1 S1 character. This is pretty much going to erase any character that's in front of it, and this is every time. Actually, no, not this every time, because this adds the break damage, but we're going to trigger this one time, and then the rest of the time we're just going to be triggering like what, 400 something, 440,000. Okay, so we're going to hit this number so many times, and even like right here we can actually swap this back to a Gallagher. If we're doing this, we can swap this back to a Gallagher, add a Bronya or a Sparkle in here, and then you're going to be triggering this amount of damage so many times with a Bronya or a Sparkle, giving you the extra action advance. So Boothill has a bunch of he has different playstyles. You can play him straight crit build, or you can just capitalize on his own break effect and his break effect kit and just deal ridiculous amounts of damage, single target, do ridiculous amounts of single target. And honestly, guys, this is like an under calculation. In game, I've seen this man hit for 720,000. Like it's not even funny. This dude is going to be insane. Hopefully Sam gets the same treatment eventually, but right now Boothill is looking like the king of break, and I'm all for it. I'm here for it. I'm all for it. I'm so excited about pulling for our boy Boothill, which I'm going to take this opportunity to let you guys know, if you want me to pull in your account for Boothill, if you want me to pull in your account for anybody, let me know. Join the Discord, hit me up on Discord, and let me know that you're interested in viewer polls, or if you're interested in an account review, let me know also in the Discord, link in the description. That is going to be the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Comment and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content, and until next time, guys, see ya.